Why all prophecy is mind control? Seriously. Now, I, for myself, spent decades in this particular book. I can't imagine if I tried to write all that I read about those who wrote about prophecy. I believe by the end of this short program, you're going to see the same thing as well. All prophecy is nothing but simple mind control. Because here's the deal. If prophecy is real, has any foundation of validity, then our existence is nothing more than a setup. You and I are nothing but puppets. We are merely playing out a script that has been written of a role that we were to play. And no matter what we think as free will, does not exist. There is absolutely nothing you or I can do about it. If prophecy is real, then I put forth it is a setup, a con. We know the word prophecy means to predict, making a prediction of the future. Now, what does that say? Does that say that it is inevitable, unavoidable, cannot be changed? Well, by the evidence of what we're taught and what we believe, it doesn't matter what we do. If prophecy is real, then it means we have no choice. It is all predestination. No choice, none. Forget about it. No matter what you have as your moral compass, no matter where you think you are on the path of life and trying to figure out it all, if prophecy is real, then it means that predestination is trumped over our lives. That's what it means. So what is predestination? Well, you can look at the Christian view. I got two scriptures that deal with it. Romans 8:29, for those God foreknew, he also predestined to be conformed to the likeness of his Son, that he might be the firstborn among many brothers. Then verse 30, and those he predestined, he also called, those he called, he also justified, yada, 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 yada. This is a setup. It's a con. The rational mind would say, well, who would dare think about going against a God? Why, if God has foretold that this is going to be, it shall be. That's no choice. So let's look at what we could possibly break down this thing called prophecy. So we have presentism, which is nowism. It means right now. Possibilism, that's the tree model, past and present. Eternalism, the block, the time universe, past, present, and future. And then spatial eternalism, past, present, and future, and future. So if prophecy has foundation in the simplest definition, it means there is no choice. No matter what you and I do, we have no choice in the matter. Now, you can argue with me and say, but Wayne, I choose to live my life and yada, yada, yada. Got it. I say the same thing. But if you apply it to the definition of prophecy, then that becomes completely null and void. It's the ultimate mind coitus, predestination, as a doctrine in Christian theology. Isn't this interesting? The divine foreordaining of all that will happen. the divine, foreordaining, especially with regard to the salvation of some and not others. It has been particularly associated with the teachings of St. Augustine of Hippo and Calvin. Well, I guess it depends on what side of the line you're on. Predestination. Now, Muslims have a belief in this, believe that nothing happens unless it is the will of God. Well, that's a little restrictive. Islamic scholars identify the mystery of faith as humans are predestined to enter heaven or hell, divine control. Or yet, humans are also responsible for the choices they make. Well, no, whoa. Didn't that just contradict C? All right, let's see. With free will comes accountability. If we choose evil, then God will impose the appropriate punishment. My question is this: what if the God has done wrong? Who punishes the God? Is that predestination? With prophecy, there is no free will, because then you would have to say that free will would then be in direct dichotomy, the antithesis of predestination. How can that be? And now, particularly when you're dealing with the ultimate deity, correct? I mean, how do you go against the will of God? Even if you say, well, I reject that, and I'm going to go, well, in this paradigm, doesn't matter. The future has already been set. And then you have to ask yourself, why pray if everything is already been predestined by the God? Why pray? What are you trying to buy a lottery ticket here and say, hey, dude, if I pray long enough and sincere enough, would you grant my prayer request, my wish? I mean, that's what it comes down to. And then if the God grants your prayer, does that impact the end? God foreordains whatsoever cometh to pass. The future of each human being is marked off in God's eternal plan. This particular aspect of predestination is fraught with perplexities, really, all of which, it may be believed, are due to the restrictions which encompass the human mind. Schaeffer, Symmetry of Theology. Think about this. Put you into this sentence. It means, let's just say, Catherine, God has foreordained your life. He has already decided what will come to pass because he has you in this eternal plan, which means, Catherine, you've got no choice in the matter. And no matter what your choice is, it would imply that it was already known ahead of time what you were going to do. How messed up is that? Before you were born or had done anything good or bad, God decided to save you or not. So, predestination or foreknowledge? So let's talk about this. So we've decided what predestination is. Does that differ than foreknowledge? In other words, if something has been predetermined, could you alter the predetermination based upon a set of knowledge facts that would impact or alter the predestination. But then again, it would no longer be predestination, would it? It would mean then that basically there would be the total random factor. When you really think about it, those who get so enraptured into prophecy, it's nothing but a soul trap. Now, other cultures, do they have prophecy or foreknowledge? Is knowledge greater than prophecy? Which is the trump card? Now, I brought this up because this is quite the conundrum. This diagram goes with several of these things. Predetermination, predestination. So how does that work with one's free will? How does one become to know if there is a God? How could you know the mind of a God? How could you know what the will of that God is? And does the God have the free choice to change God's will? And if God can change his will, then does that then have the immediacy of impacting all sentient life? Minds have wrestled with this, and it's the mind coitus of all time. So if you take the biblical view of predestination, then you have birth, life, and eternity. So let's just say you're one of the ones that the God says, hey, I like you before you were born. In fact, you can go back to the Old Testament. What is it? Jacob I loved, Esau I hated. Well, Esau was screwed before he was even thought of. And that's how so many today in this mind trap, this God spell, get into this thing. They suddenly think that they have the golden ticket. Therefore, they can cast judgments and dispersions upon everybody else because all the rest of us were never chosen. So either you're going to be the inheritor or you're going to be the deserter. You didn't have a place at the table to begin with. I mean, how far does this go? You see, others have thought about this in a biblical perspective and said, whoa, time out. Why is there even this religion then? It's insane if you're practicing a religion when you believe the fact in prophecy, and then that means you have to believe in predetermination. So why are you here? Nothing you or I do is going to change anything. And some are going to get the golden ticket and some are going to get the shaft. Oh, folks, come on. Sapiens, awake. Truly. This is nuts. So predestination appears in 4 verses of just 2 chapters. And the thing about it is, they got a problem with this because it contradicts what else is written in that book. So the theorem is this: if predestination is true, then the Word of God, the Bible, lies. You know why? Sin has no effect, no matter what you do. Proof: if predestination is true, then you are either predestined to go to heaven or you're predestined to go to hell. Assuming that you're the guy who's predestined to go to heaven, then you can sin all you want and you will still go to heaven. Now, assuming that you are predestined to go to hell, then does it matter what you do? You can sin all you want. So either way, sin has no effect. Think about it. You can't have predestination and then say that sin has value. So which is it? Come on, tell me. Is it chance or luck? That's what I want to know. Leave your comments.